I would like to first start with a short question. What is the meaning of your name, Gunesh Sevinc?
How to non-judgmentally be aware of the present moment sensation. So this is the definition of mindfulness.
And apparently you also worked on morality cognition in your PhD. How can morality be associated or linked to meditation? So now if one of our viewers want to get into meditation and start doing that, do you have any suggestions for that?
It might help people with anxiety disorders and help them learn not to fear.
Can you compare life in Boston with life in Istanbul? Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of PulsarTalks. Today I am with Gunesh Sevinc. She has been a postdoc researcher at Lazar Group at Harvard University, working on brain mechanisms underlying mindfulness meditation. Before that, she did her PhD in Istanbul University, working on neuroscience. And right now, she is a senior research associate at RDL Outcomes, focusing on patient-focused outcomes. Welcome, Gunesh.
This is exciting, and thank you very much for the invitation and for this nice introduction.
Thanks for agreeing to be with us today. I would like to first start with a short question. What is the meaning of your name, Gunesh Sevinc?
I'm from Istanbul, Turkey, and we have names, Persian, Arabic, and also Old Turkic names. But we also use words from the nature quite a lot. So my first name Güneş means sun, and my last name Sevinc means joy. So I am technically sun and joy.
That is an amazing name to me. So Gunesh, you in one of your latest research, you show that mindfulness meditation may reduce the anxiety that is associated with some phobias. To me, that was very exciting. How does that work?
Yes, we were interested in neural mechanisms associated with mindfulness meditation because we currently know that it works, but we are beginning to study how it works. And one way to do is to look at which neural network is changing in the brain, and the results show that it's actually helping people learn that it's a fearful stimuli is safe. So this was one of the results of that research, and showed that it might help people with anxiety disorders and help them learn not to fear.
That's amazing. So could you tell us a little bit about how this mindfulness meditation works? For example, if a patient came to your study, what did you ask them to do?
Yes. Initially, our work focused on long-term meditators. So the brains we studied were from people with long-term meditation experience. But of course, it's not easy to dissociate whether they have a certain disposition in the first place, and that's why they started mindfulness meditation or meditation and reach a result from there. So over the recent years, we take meditation naive individuals and randomize them into a mindfulness-based stress reduction course and a control condition like brain games-based cognitive course or education-based stress reduction course, so that we can control that initial motivation and interest. We usually use mindfulness-based stress reduction course developed by John Kabat-Zinn. It's an 8-week course which teaches individuals how to meditate and how to non-judgmentally be aware of the present moment sensation. So this is the definition of mindfulness.
Gunesh, I know that meditation can have a variety of applications, and apparently you also worked on morality cognition in your PhD. How can morality be associated or linked to meditation?
Sure. So during my PhD, I studied neural networks underlying moral cognition. Moral cognition, this means just what's happening in our brains when we reach or not reach a moral decision. So this was my PhD work, and after finishing my PhD, the main striking results was this finding that a network called salience network, which is involved in bottom-up attention, kind of the network that alerts the individual to the current experience and saying that, hey, you need to pay attention, there is something there. So my PhD work suggested the involvement of salience network in moral cognition. So I started thinking about, well, there must be a way to change or kind of modulate that salience network activation in a way that helps people to pay more attention to morally relevant stimuli. Because in modern life, we kind of get used to those moral contexts, and we just walk by people who need our attention, or we kind of don't pay attention. So I thought modulating salience network may help, maybe one way of enhancing moral behaviors or prosociality. And I was also meditating, and when I was reading about mindfulness meditation research, I saw that salience network or modulation of salience network was a big part of it, because during meditation what happens is that you learn to pay attention those bodily signals, those bottom-up signals. So the idea popped up, and I said, well, mindfulness meditation can be one way to enhance moral cognition through enhancing awareness and attention to internal and external stimuli.
Wow. And what was the early results? Do you think like meditation could also affect positively our moral decision making?
Yes, we were able to get funding to run that research. We don't have the results yet, but one way, one of our hypotheses is that if you learn to pay attention to those morally salient contexts, it may also influence your behavior. You may end up realizing, well, this is a morally relevant issue, so it requires my input, or it requires an action from me. So this was one of our hopes, but we haven't finished analyzing the data from that research, where we run a moral cognition experiment inside the scanner, and then repeated that experiment again after 8 weeks of mindfulness training to see how mindfulness training changes neural activity during moral cognition or paying attention to morally relevant stimuli.
What got you into morality cognition? Why did you become interested in morality?
Well, thank you for this question. I'm from Istanbul, Turkey, as I said. It's a harsh region. It's part of the Middle East, but also part of Europe. And over the recent years, it has been exposed to political turbulence of the region. So morality has been always a more salient issue when I was growing up. There's terror and wars, and currently 3.5 million refugees. So these issues were has always been more salient in my mind, and I wanted to explore human minds and how humans reach these moral decisions knowingly or unknowingly.
So Gunesh, a lot of people, I think, have already got very interested in meditation, and the fact that science now is showing a lot of its benefits, because before it was more tradition in a lot of Eastern cultures. So now if one of our viewers want to get into meditation and start doing that, do you have any suggestions for them?
Sure, they can start with mindfulness-based stress reduction course developed by John Kabat-Zinn. It's an 8-week, very structured course which teaches people how to meditate and also how it relates to their daily life, how they can apply that meditation experience in their daily life. But of course, it's a very simple, as I said, the instructions are very simple. They can just go online and look for apps. There are certain apps that teach individuals how to meditate, or just information found online will be helpful to start meditating. But over the long run, they can move into having instructors or other people that lead them through this process.
So as we are approaching the end of an interview, I was wondering maybe I can ask you a more personal question about your experience. So right now you are living in Halifax, being the senior research scientist. But before that, you were in Boston for 5 years. Can you compare life in Boston with life in Istanbul?
Sure. I was born and raised in Istanbul, and I lived quite a while there. And it's very different to Boston, and both are amazing cities with advantages and disadvantages. But the main difference is the population. Istanbul has a population of 70 million. It's a very busy and alive city, and it has parts in Asia and also in Europe. And it's like saying that, oh, I'm going to Asia today. Do you need anything from the Asian part? It's a very common thing. Or it's like, I will be in European side today. Do you need anything from that side? So it's a very different experience to live in a city with 17 million people in it, and also in Boston. But both are wonderful cities, and of course the food is way better in Istanbul. But Boston has more variety.
Güneş, it was great having you as a guest on PulsarTalks. I really enjoyed talking with you. I think your research is so exciting, and I'm looking forward to the new results of your research. So thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much, Ashkan. Thanks for the invitation. I enjoyed it as well.
Well, people at home, please comment about this interview and also follow us on LinkedIn. See you soon in the next episode.